Here's a rundown on career advice given AGI, How I Research, featuring Trenton Bricken and Sholto Douglas by Dwarkesh Patel. Trenton asks why ordinary people should care about the book, and Dwarkesh explains that it addresses the most important questions humanity is facing, such as the fundamental nature of intelligence and the economics of a future society with advanced AI.
Trenton notes that the book is sliced up by different topics and across interviews, making it a nice way to digest all the information.
Dwarkesh mentions that there are 2 interviews in the book that haven't been released publicly before, including one with Jared Kaplan, a co-founder of Anthropic.
Sholto jokes that his parents will finally understand what he does for a job after reading the book. The conversation then shifts to a question from Brian Krav about models not making connections across disparate topics.
Dwarkesh explains that this is a combinatorial attention challenge and asks Sholto and Trenton for their thoughts.
Sholto suggests that the pre-training objective doesn't necessarily imbue models with the skill of making novel connections or research, and that significant reinforcement learning, RL, is needed to approach making novel discoveries. Trenton wonders if models currently just aren't good at knowing what memories they should be storing, and notes that memory scaffolding is still very primitive.
Dwarkesh jokes that becoming a podcaster is a good career move, but Sholto suggests that increasing individual leverage by a huge factor every year is key.
Trenton notes that learning fundamentals and gaining useful mental models is important, but that everything should be done in an AI-native way.
Dwarkesh asks Sholto if he thinks there is an opportunity for people who are advanced in their career to be accelerated by AIDI.
Sholto notes that it's still what they look for in hiring, but that the onboarding process may be harder.
The conversation then turns to Dwarkesh's strategy for choosing guests for his podcast. He notes that big guests don't really matter that much, and that his most popular guests are often not well known publicly. Sholto asks Dwarkesh about the specific moment he realized that producing his podcast was a viable long-term strategy. Dwarkesh notes that it was when he was shopping around aid spots for a Mark Zuckerberg episode and realized he could hire an editor full-time. He jokes that he often tells young people to start a blog and be the Matt Levine of AI. He believes that there are many open niches, such as AI, that are waiting to be filled. However, he also emphasizes that it's hard to succeed in a specific niche based on other people's advice, and that it's essential to have a single person's vision propel the project. He notes that making a lot of money is not the most important thing, but it's worth knowing that it's a viable career path. Dwarkesh shares his own experience of starting a podcast and how it has helped him meet people in his field and learn from them. He believes that the most important thing is to create high-quality content that resonates with people, and that it's not necessary to have a fundamentally new insight to make an impact. When asked about his favorite history book, Dwarkesh mentions the Carol LBJ biographies, which he found inspiring. He also shares his approach to learning new things, which involves reading books and papers, talking to experts, and asking questions. He notes that it's harder to learn a field to be a practitioner than to learn enough to ask interesting questions. Dwarkesh's long-term goals and ambitions are focused on growing his podcast and doing more episodes, as well as writing. He asks his guests if they have changed their lifestyle as a result, and they share their own experiences and perspectives. The conversation also touches on Dwarkesh's approach to grooming his beard, which he attributes to genetics and occasional use of beard oil. Dwarkesh suggests LBJ or Robert Moses, but notes that it's hard to think of a great person in history who would be both effective and trustworthy. He's considering offering grants or funding to help them get shifted, but he's not sure if that's the most effective way to go about it. Sholto Douglas suggests that instead of just giving money, Dwarkesh could offer opportunities for these creators to connect with others in the field and gain valuable experience. For example, he could offer to pay for them to move to San Francisco for a few months to immerse themselves in the intellectual community there. Dwarkesh is interested in learning more about how to replicate this success and find the next big talent.
Trenton notes that the key to making it work is to find people who are willing to put in the time and effort to learn and grow, and to provide them with the right resources and support. The conversation turns to the topic of distribution and how to get content in front of the right people.
Dwarkesh notes that he's been successful with YouTube Shorts, which has been responsible for at least half of the growth of his podcast. Sholto suggests that Dwarkesh could use his platform to promote other creators and ideas that he's interested in. Dwarkesh agrees, and notes that he's been trying to do more of this. but it's not always easy to find the right people to support. The conversation also touches on the topic of hiring and how to find the right people for a team. Dwarkesh notes that he's been trying to hire a general manager for a while, but it's been tough to find the right person. Trenton suggests that the job might be too unusual for people to apply for, and that Dwarkesh might need to seek out people who are a good fit, rather than relying on applications. Dwarkesh also shares some advice for new writers who are trying to make it on Substack. He suggests that podcasting and writing book reviews can be good ways to get shifted, as they allow you to leverage the platform of others and react to existing ideas rather than having to come up with something entirely new. The conversation wraps up with some discussion of Dwarkesh's new book, The Scaling Era, which is being released with Stripe Press. Thank you for tuning in. Please subscribe, and just remember, subscription is only £1 or $1 per month. Leave a comment or review. Until next time, happy listening. When you're on to sharing time.